Hey there, Boots Owen here. This is a Dyson DC25 upright vacuum cleaner. I'm going to do a full refurb in my terms. Take the canister off, give it a clean, clean the filter, take the brush head off, give it a clean, and clean a blockage in the pipe on this machine. Stay tuned. Let's turn it on and show you what happens. So almost instantly you can hear the tone changes, and that's the pressure relief valve coming on. It's in here somewhere. It's blocked. Simple as that. So it's been used, I think. Let's get it up on the bench. So it's been used to suck up plaster. These things don't like plaster. Plaster clogs all the pores. You can see all that white stuff in there. Not good for them. I have to open it by the bottom. So we'll go outside and empty it, and then we'll open it up and have a look. So pressing the red button releases the bottom's off. Then that dust falls out. You press this, unclips that, and then this comes out, and you can see, that's what I was talking about, all these pores have got dust in them, which reduces efficiency. This one's not so bad. They're quite clogged, completely clogged. It's not so bad, but it's obviously enough to block the or to engage the pressure relief valve. You can see inside there's dust around those cones. That's not good, but there's a blockage in it somewhere. So let's get the filter and have a look at that. Filter is a bit dusty. It's got a load of pet hair on it by the looks of things. Not so bad. We can give that a wash. Let's have a look in the bottom of it and see what the filter is like down there. So I'm just pressing the red button here at the bottom to release the vacuum so that it can fold back, and then spin this around. Press that button in. Press this button in and push it this way. And that clips out, and then I clip this out like this. That's the post motor filter. It looks fine. Sometimes these are like completely black. I wouldn't worry about that. Put that back in. Put this back in. Clip this back in. Like that. That's okay. Let's see if I turn it on now. What does it do? So you didn't get to see what I was doing there, so let's do that. So if I turn it on now, so from that noise test, it was enough to tell me that it's probably the canister filter combination that's the problem. So let's try and break down this canister and see what we can do. So I can clean this as it is. I could take off the rubber seal at the bottom. I might do that when I'm washing it. I'm not going to take off the red thing because that's a nightmare to put back together. The filter, I can scrape that off and then give it a wash under the tap, and you end up, I'll show you what I'm doing when I'm doing that. You end up giving it a bit of a clean. This rubber ring doesn't come off, but in here there's some screws. There they are. Let's get them off. 5 little screws. And these machines, this is really all it takes, is take the screws out, and then we have to figure out how to get the plastic apart. I know I've done this one before, but every Dyson is different. Every model has some feature that snaps together or clips together or something that makes it just that little bit too difficult. 2 more screws. This one might be one of the easy ones. There are some easy ones and some particularly complicated ones where you end up kind of damaging the plastic. So this is taking the top off nice and easy. But what I need to say is that you have to take it apart. Whoa, there's that. No, so pay attention. This red thing's just fallen out from here, and this goes in like this. The little cross piece there engages with the spring. That goes in like that, and that's your release thing for the canister. So you need to keep that spring and that plastic thing carefully. Yeah, so you need to clean this apart. You can see the little cones, little spirals, helical spirals of dust down at the bottom there. That's really neat. You need to take it completely apart, because if you just rinse it as it is here, the dust just gets stuck inside and more dust sticks to it really quickly. So that's not a solution. So this is the top piece. Pull this guy off gently and we'll give it a wash. We'll give that blue piece, purple piece, it's purple, a wash. Should be able to pop this apart. In fact, will I? Yep, let's get this apart. This is a screwdriver, and this is when it all starts to go a bit wrong. So I'm just levering it off, but it's not coming. Try the other side. There we go. So I won't clean this underwater because that's the pressure relief valve there. What I will do is I will give it a good wipe down with a cloth. This I will rinse out underwater. That's just one piece of plastic now. And then this bad boy. So this is the complicated bit to take apart. And what we need to do is pop this inner piece out. Now, it might be easy, it might not. So you see there's a tab here, this little slot, and there's one here, and they're all the way around. You've got to get it over that and snap it out of its position. So I'm just hooking a finger in. I'm putting a lot of pressure on it now, you know. And I'll try it with the bit that's longest to give me the most lever arm. There it is. Okay, so that's one. So what I've done is I've held this piece up and push this piece down. And that's the next one. Gloves would help actually because I'm catching my fingers here. There we go. Once you've got 3, you got 4. And so there's, look at that. If you just rinse that off, well, you might be able to clean that from there, but not perfectly. That's that piece off. And the next piece is complicated as well. This grey piece, this is the bit that's really critical. This grey piece here has to come off the purple. And it's hooked on the whole way around, and I haven't found a great way of doing it yet. You see, look at all that dust. Other than to use a screwdriver or a blade of some kind and start at one side and just start snapping. So I've got a big chisel here. It's not sharp, but it's sharp enough to cut stuff. But you can see now. Let's zoom right in. So you can see here, if I get it and hook it over, I can try to get a start on that. It's not great. You really need to hold it in a vise. I've got another screwdriver blade coming in here. I'll zoom out a bit now. It might be easier with 2 screwdrivers. So you want to try and push the grey back and hook this off the whole way around. Sometimes you damage the plastic because it's snapped on here, but it's also snapped on here. I know it's snapped on all around these 5 ports. So there, I've got the screwdriver tucked in this time. Let's get another flat bladed screwdriver now. Just try and twist it off. That's it there. I don't want them to fall out, but this is where you need really like a whole other set of hands. And if there's a better way of doing this, tell me about it in the comments, because I've done this a few times now and haven't found a better way. So you want to get that up onto that, off on that lip now. It's kind of, has it just fallen back or not? The other option maybe, actually I'm going to give this a try. The other option maybe is to put piece of something in here and hit it with a hammer, and I'm going to try that because I don't really care about this thing. So I've got a little piece of wood there across 3 of them. I'm going to put this up on top now. Hold the grey piece in my hand. It's not doing anything, it's just making dust. Yeah, it's just making dust. Okay, that's not done it. It works for some of them. Plaster dust everywhere. It's good for the lungs. Right, back to the drawing board. Dust everywhere. So there's some places where you can get it started and there's other places where you can't for some reason. That's off the lip, or it's sitting up on the lip there. So it's half of it off, but there we go. We hear that snap, that's good. Yeah, I think we're getting there now. Yeah, maybe if it doesn't snap back on. No, I suspect that was it snapping back on around the other side. Yep, I think it just snapped back on there. Just need some more screwdrivers. Seems to be moving, but it's the seal here that's holding it back, not the seal that I'm breaking down at the bottom. There we go. So it snapped off all the way around and just lifts off. So now we're in a position to give it a wash. So washing it is pretty straightforward, but people like videos. Some warm water there. This bowl filled up. A brush. Just start cleaning it. I've got a bottle brush for doing in between. Use a smaller brush to get right down into it. And then there's some dirt caught up here as well. In there, just checking that they're all clean. They're not completely, so when we get in the center. And I'll give all this a rinse off as well later. Okay. seen these where they're completely worn thin. These gaskets from people, you know, really using their vacuum cleaners for something quite abrasive over a long period of time. And that's good, but it's difficult to fix them if they've worn thin. There's the fluff there, clogging. You can see the center's got a layer of crud on it. Okay, I'll clean this cylinder out first. Take off the rubber seal at the bottom, but it's difficult to reinstate. So I find it's enough. This bit won't affect the performance. It'll just be dirty if you don't clean it right. See underneath where it's still dirty. Then let's give all these pieces a rinse off, and then I'll come to the filter. You could, if you had a dishwasher, put these in the dishwasher. I don't think that would hurt. Might, I don't know, never tried it, but you know, second-hand machines you haven't paid for, it's kind of arguable whether it matters or not. Okay, that's good enough for me. So now with this rinse water, let's clean this filter. Let's just get off the remainder of that stuff there. Get rid of that. This is the bit that is both rewarding and horrible at the same time. So you want to get as much of that off, pick as much of that off, because otherwise it'll go inside the filter now. It goes in underneath that cloth layer. It doesn't want to come back off. A little bit of soap. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the pattern of the vents that were on it. So a bit of soap should help lift out any oily deposits or anything like that. This does waste a lot of water, and it's arguable that, you know, these are disposable. They're not disposable, they're reusable filters, but you could just dispose of them. They're about, I think you can get a filter set for 5 or 6 quid. I'll put a link to, an affiliated link to Amazon below. You're wasting so much water cleaning them, and time, you know. This job will take me taking the whole, well, not just taking the filter is easy, but taking the filter out's easy, but taking the whole thing apart takes hours, you know. Well, it takes 1 hour, I'd say. If you allow yourself 1 hour, you'd be all right. I think we're getting to the point where I'd call that clean. Not going to get it much cleaner, so this will take, depends on where you've got and how damp it is. I'll leave it overnight beside a fire, beside a storage heater, one or the other, and that will dry out. The other parts, I'll give them a dry, and I'll come back tomorrow and put them back together. So this is just detailing, and this is up to whatever level you want to get it to be clean. You can take this apart some more by taking 2 screws out underneath, but I don't want to. The issue I have with vacuum cleaners is that the second you turn them on, they raise dust everywhere and they become dirty again. There's no point at which, you know, the point when I've finished this video is the point when this will be cleanest. That is provided I don't do a little shot of me vacuuming with it, because at that point, that's it, it's dirty again. Okay, then there's the device itself over here. Now this unit, this brush bar, I think it works. I've tested it and I think it works. So let's get in underneath and try and get this thing out. So in underneath here, there's this little clip, and push it down, I think, and pull something off maybe. I can't remember now. So I push this grey thing down. Does this clip off? Does this just slide off? Yeah, it slides down. Oh, so there's the real issue. Okay, so that's the brush bar and it's okay. There's another issue here that we wouldn't have picked up on that test, and that's that the hose is probably completely clogged as well. So we've got to do that. Oh, yuck. Alright. So I presume all of this up back to here is clogged. Actually, can I feel that? How far in? Let's get a bit of wire and see if we can dig it out. So here's a little bit of wire. Let's just put a hook on the end. This could use a coat hanger or anything like that. I'll try and come down the side. This is pretty gross. But I've seen simple things like a bottle cap, or complicated things like this sausage of dust. Sometimes you'll find money. I think that's it now. I think it's clear beyond that. It's just hair and fluff. So I'll want to give this a wipe out, because that's just going to keep getting dust sticking to it. I think that's all it was, you know. That's probably the main problem. So when I tested it there, we wouldn't have picked that up because this stuff wasn't attached to the pump anymore, to the vacuum motor anymore. That's bloody gross. Let's get the vacuum. This is just an old toothbrush. And so the first time I turn this on, this is all just going to get sucked into it. I don't think there's any more blocking it. That's a lot cleaner. That's a lot cleaner. So when I was running that vacuum cleaner on that pipe, I heard something else getting sucked back up. I don't know what it was, but it was something from further back up. So I'm kind of satisfied with that now. I will give this a wipe down off camera, just a wipe of this kind of dust. I'll show you a little bit of what I'm going to do. Just a wipe like this to take this dust off it, and you can do as much as you want. But it comes up pretty clean. It's plastic, so it's all pretty good for wiping down. Just get rid of as much of the... Another thing I'll do is I'll wipe the cord like this from end to end. And you'd be amazed at the filth that comes off cords. Okay, the brush head is next. So I'm going to begin by getting the surface dust off it. And you can see that inside there's a load of stuff on the inside of that plastic, and like I said, you know, cleaning them only makes it that you have to, like I said, cleaning it only means that it's dirty again as soon as you use it. This has got a matchstick there. It's not too dirty, this one. There's a bit of string caught around it. I'll take it apart. It's the inside of the plastic that I want to clean. And I want to be able to give that a bath, just because I'm strange like that. So there's a lot of screws here to get out. Let's do it. I think this one's a Phillips head screw, if I recall. Yeah, this one at the back, so that you can replace the wheel. It's got a different head, cross head screw here. And that lifts that little wheel off, and keep the little bar there. I've lost it. There it is, little dowel bar. The rest of them are Torx, and there's quite a few. Oh, before I do that, let's do this. Turn this. This rotates off. Maybe just turn it that way. No, not this way. Click, that rotates off. You pull this out, and then you can get a piece of hooked wire like I used before. I like these little tools here. Just try and hook that over the edge. It's a little bit of thread or something called. Yeah, a bit of thread. Just drag the hook down along it. You can get all this hair off, which is gross. Someone else's hair. It's not pet hair. Pet hair is not normally that long. And then that's elastic of some description. You can see marks on it where something's been caught in there. And I suspect there's going to be elastic caught in here. So this one, just grab the end and pull. There's a bearing in here, a ball bearing, and you can feel that with your finger, and if it feels okay, it is okay. By feel, I mean when you spin it, it doesn't sound crunchy. There's a little dust in there. And just another bit of string. And that's as clean as that brush bar is going to get. Snap that back on. That's that done. So that's how you clean the brush bar, if that's all you want to do. But I want to get in and clean this plastic, so now I've got to get out all these screws. Buried in there under some fluff. And there's a motor in here, in this box here, and getting it back together and getting some cables back together is a bit awkward sometimes. Sometimes on some vacuum cleaners, underneath these little wheels there's another screw. I don't think it's that way on this one because there's a screw so close to them, but I've seen it before where they hide the screws, and so you've then spent ages cursing the thing and you can't figure it out, but the screw's just hidden from you. Okay, that should be it, and this should come apart. Okay, so the top's coming off, it seems. It's never this easy. Wiggle and pull, wiggle and pull. Okay, that's the top. I want to clean that bit. And there's the motor covered in dust. And this is, get rid of these screws. This is a little bit complex. So you've got a DC motor, like you'd have in a battery drill, and you've got cables from that going down to here, and you've got this plastic thing, and the plastic thing is the tensioner. See that spring there is the tensioner on the belt. So to get this off, you've got to get the belt off. So I'm just hooking it and pulling it from behind as I turn it. There we go. If you needed to replace the belt, that's how you do that. You need to slide this out. I think it's clipped in, so you need to pull the plastic up. If I recall, I've been in here before on a different one. They don't make it obvious. Well, let's just get it all apart. Okay, so that bumper bar is stuck to the white. This comes off. There's a bearing in here. I'll give that a clean as well, I think. I think this one just pulls apart. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't see any screws on it. Oh, there is. There's a screw in the end. Just to catch you out. This is a Torx 10 right in there that I'm taking out. Little tiny, well, not tiny, but small screw. That gets that piece off. That allows you to push this piece out. Does it? It should do. See, there's a bearing in there as well. I don't really want to get the bearing wet because they're sealed bearings, but they don't really like moisture. That should just push through. There it is, just hammered out. I won't clean that, it's okay. And the bearings in there, this side. It just pushes out. And it feels okay, so I'm just holding the center and spinning the outside. It's got a bit of rust on it, but it feels fine. So that's ready for a bath. There's rubber seals in here, but I don't want to take them out. Bit of hair there. Then the motor and all this stuff. I really don't want to take this apart. What I might try to do, you see, because the wires are so complicated to put back together, I might just very carefully give it a bath without getting the motor wet. And this snaps out. You see there's little clips here and here. I have to try and release somehow. Small screwdriver. So up from the bottom and pull the thing down. That's the bumper out of the way. Yep, I'll just give this a careful wipe out now. With this wet sock. You can take the motor apart, not the motor, but to take the motor out of its housing. But it's not a job that, it doesn't go back together very easily. So I'm not going to do it today. I've done it, check out my other videos, I've done it for a DC24 and I think a DC25 in another video. So there's a gasket in there, some kind of a seal. Some hair out of there. Where's my toothbrush? Yeah, like you can see how that wire is routed there. When you take it apart and try to put that back together, that's fun. So at this point in the video, he's wondering to himself, why bother with this? This is just a waste of my time. Well, there's two levels to it. One is that I get a certain pleasure from keeping things from a landfill. And I could just, you know, take it all apart, put the plastic in the landfill, and put the motor in the metal recycling. And that would, you know, mean that I've kind of done half a job at fixing it. And the other thing is that if I do this on camera and show you how to do it, you might give it a go. Or you might look at it and say, no, I'm throwing that in landfill. The other thing is that it means that I have a working machine. Now, I don't need another vacuum cleaner. I have more than enough. But it's a good vacuum cleaner. And the last is that I'll make money if you watch this video. And what I've noticed is that these brush videos people don't really watch, but the ones about cleaning the canisters, people watch them. If people watch them, I get paid. So I can make a lot more money making this video than just selling the machine. I don't really like selling the machine anyways, because you have to deal with people. Bit more stuff I can see there. Right. So I'll give this a wipe with my damp cloth, and then I'll give it a wipe with my dry cloth. If you do take this apart, this rubber thing is a real trouble to get back together, and the cabling, so check out my other videos for that. Okay then, let's rebuild this brush bar. The parts have been given a wash and given overnight to dry. Let's snap this bit in here. Then first of all, I should have done this. There's another bearing in there. That bearing's sitting up. It's a 16mm socket. A little disc of wood. Good enough. Roll it on with your hand, with your fingers, self-tensioning. This top piece. Struggling here. Looks good. Now, one screw had a cross on it. This this one. That went with the wheel. The remaining screws get screwed in. So I'll do that. I almost forgot. One screw is smaller and it goes in here. I'll have to pull some piece off again maybe. I don't want to, so I'm going to see if I can do it without. Extra long screwdriver. Could have done this correctly at the beginning, but because I don't want to take it apart again and take the belt off again. And it's just spinning, so I've got to get my. Oh, okay, just hold it here. What's going on? It. Holding it with my finger here, tightening it up tight, so I'll do the remaining screws. Then this brush goes in. It locates on the end of this thing in there. No, I did it wrong. Gotta get this side out like this. There, and then like that, and then like that. Finally, wheel goes in, goes in. Phillips head. Those two pins are the power connectors that join the power for the brush. It's going to slide up from below and snap in, and that's it. So let's put the canister back together. The gasket can go on there. This has to snap on here. There's a cutout here on one side that aligns with this cutout. So the pins go in. And then it's quite difficult to get it to fit on. You've got to get it on here, push, and get this to snap up over the top. See the way it just bends in there? That's it. Push it down and pull this in with your fingers. And that was it. That snap's gone the whole way around. Next is this piece. Can I remember which way this went? That's the back. That lines up with this bit. And this thing here has an angle on it to match this angle, like that. this has to go like this. Just push it in until the snaps come together. You'll see I didn't do a great job cleaning here. It takes a lot of force. That's 3 out of 4, I think. Yeah, that one's not in yet. Screwdriver pushing down. There we go. That's 4 out of 4. This bit joins it together. Not before we put that spring in. The spring locates there on that little red cross and slots down in that hole, and that slides through there. Some models have a spring that needs a twist as well as to be located. I've posted other videos about those. Red slots in here. 5 screws I'll put back as if by magic. Filter needs to be completely dry. Once it is, put it back in. And then it's just a matter of snapping this bit back on. Again, it's just brute force, I think. There it is. It's on. Click. Hook that piece in on the front. The back snaps on. Check the operation here from the thumb all the way to the end. So I have to close it first and then stiff down there. There, it works. Bit stiff. Ta-da! Back together. Let's test it out. go, Dyson DC25. Filthy once again. Questions or comments, leave them below. Thanks for watching. See you later. Check out the links below to filters and other accessories online.